Well, hello and welcome to the show. Glad you've joined us again this week. You know, I think for me as a parent, one of the most fun things I get to do is to work with my kids and teach them what it is that I do. And I get that opportunity this week as Kurt and I are going to put the first ride on this 2-year-old that he's been doing all the groundwork on. That's coming up right here on Discovering the Horseman Within.
Now the sun is rising slowly on the mountain you must climb, and the trail that takes you closer to the source. And you dream about the moment when you leave it all behind and climb up on that one true horse. That one true horse, the perfect partner built to ride. One true horse, a bond that cannot be denied. You would search forever just to have the chance to take a ride on one true horse. Gonna take a ride on one true horse.
I want to give you a little background on this colt. We have Farrell Russet works here. He's from Kansas and he starts all of our babies. He gets them all halter broke, does a ton of groundwork on them, gets them coming along real nice. This is a 2-year-old colt, and Kurt took this colt a few days ago and started working him in the round pen, sacking him out, and he's got him to where he saddled him, and he saddled him a couple of times, and so I think it's time for Kurt to get on. But what I do is kind of what my dad did with me. When I was about Kurt's age and I was starting a lot of colts, my dad always rode a pony horse, or what we call a snubbing horse, and then he would work the horses and then control the horse while I got on and off. And so that's what we're going to do with Kurt. I'm just going to ride Tucson over here, and I want to kind of work on this colt and just kind of sack him out from above, let him be ridden more or less, right? We're going to go for a ride here. You watch this colt, he's kind of got his old neck up stiff, not scared, more like, what do you think you're doing with me, huh? Kind of arrogant. And so I just want to make sure he understands what it means to be ridden and controlled from above his back before Kurt goes flying into the middle of him. Okay, so just take a hold of him right there. And I like that angle where I'm going to ride that colt off. And so I'm above him. Now there's no weight in the saddle, but I'm above him. And when he moves off there, I can kind of control him. Move him around here. One of the things I like to do, I like to make sure he understands that my horse is kind of dominant in this situation. So, and you'll see right there, you see him kind of bend his nose over like to my horse, like, what do you think you're doing pushing on me? And I'm going to do that until that horse gives ground. And as soon as he gives ground, I'm going to release him. But what I don't want to have happen is when he gets a little bit nervous with a rider on his back, for him to think he can push or bolt through or run over my horse. So I'll just use Tucson here and kind of push him around a little bit. And as soon as he gives ground, I'll offer him that release. And I'll just kind of move away from him. As soon as he admits to himself that maybe he's not king of the world. Now I don't want him scared, right? So come back over here and pet on him and fool with him. Take that rein again. I want to just take him for another ride. There we go, right there. Now, I choose the colts that Kurt's going to start. He's 13 years old. He doesn't need to get hurt. He's certainly old enough to start helping and doing a lot of work. But at the same time, I don't want my kid hurt, and I think you feel the same way. So I've chosen a colt that's pretty quiet, pretty laid back, you know, has a real nice nature. And this isn't Kurt's first colt to start. He's started several ponies. Last year he started his own, one of his own personal horses that's a son of Stormy. And this year he started a couple of colts for me. And you can actually follow Kurt with the 2-year-olds this year. He's going to be putting occasional updates on Facebook with us on the 2-year-olds he's riding, and you can kind of see how they're doing and how it's going. All right, so I'm liking this. Now what I'm going to do is ride over here, and I'm going to use my leg and kind of bump on his belly. I'm going to do just to him exactly what Kurt, there, as soon as he moves his feet, I'm gonna release. I want him to get accustomed to things that Kurt's gonna do. That's the concept behind sitting up on this horse. Right here, see how, and I don't know that you can see it, but he's wanting to push his nose down into Tucson's flank, and he's wanting to just kind of say, hey, who are you? Well, I don't mind him being curious, but I don't want him to be pushy curious. So I'll use Tucson to kind of, there, as soon as those feet move, I'll release the pressure. I'll use Tucson to kind of push him until he starts to understand this isn't gonna work. I can't be pushy, I can't be bossy. He needs to see Tucson as in control. There we go. I'm just kind of, that time I went to my saddle horn, you notice when I walked away, he's been pulling on me just a little bit. I want to make sure that we have control. So I went kind of with a solid pull so that he understands, hey, there's a cost to be paid right here, right there. I don't want him to think, once Kurt gets on him, that he's in control. I don't want him intimidated, don't get me wrong, but I want him to understand there's no give, all right? It's your responsibility on the snubbing horse to make sure that your rider on the Colt is going to be safe. It's your job to make sure here we go, just push him over there. And if my horse is not wanting to push too hard, then I'll push with my hand and kind of help him. Just there, right there. Get that nice turn and bring him around there. Now I'm going to take that lead rope over the other side again. I'm going to come back here and work on his hip with my horse's chest. And bring him around. Good, right there. Now right there is what I'm talking about, where he just kind of sulls up. I want to take a hold of him. And I don't want to drag him, but I want him to feel a little more pressure and a little more need to give. He doesn't feel the need to give to this halter rope too terrible much. And so for me, what's happening is he's got all these lessons, all the things he's done. Now all of a sudden we're putting them together in an environment that makes him a little less comfortable. So he's saying no to things, and what I want to do is just increase the pressure, use my saddle horse to kind of lift it up a little bit, make sure that this horse is understanding that Tucson is completely in control of the situation before we get ready to move on to having a rider. So during the segment for commercial break, I went ahead and just continued working this colt in the same way, just a couple of more minutes, probably about another 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Make sure he's completely respectful of my horse. Now I'm ready to come back and have Kurt start mounting and dismounting and fooling with the saddle and making sure we're ready for this ride. So Kurt, what I want you to do is walk over here on the right-hand side. And I want you to just walk up there and just bang and pop on that saddle, rattle that rope. There you go. Reach up and pet him. Let him know you like him. Let him know you're friends. It's all okay. I've just kind of worked him, you know, a little bit, not really to ruin his confidence, but I've got him to where he's not as proud of himself or arrogant as he was a few minutes ago. So that means he's a little bit concerned, and that's okay. I don't want him scared, but I also don't want him thinking that he is solely in charge of what's happening. He has to learn to accept our control. So when you go at that saddle, make sure you're not just scaring him to death. You know what I mean? Go at it gently, pet on him, rub on his hip a little bit, let him know you like him. Take a minute to pet his hip, and not right now.
Boy.
Good. Yeah, knock some of that loose hair off. Good job. All right, now come around to the other side. I think you can do as much for a horse grooming him with your hands like that as you can anything. All right, go ahead and just pet on his neck a minute, let him know you're there, then start banging and popping on that saddle. Now at this point, I've got a pretty loose lead rope. Okay, we're gonna actually change this picture a little bit, Kurt. Just give me just a second here. Good. I like the way he came to that halter and lead rope better now. He's not quite as willing to kind of pull on me. Good. All right, now I want you to come back over here and do the same thing you were doing. Just bang and pop on that saddle. So you notice the slack in this lead rope? My job at this point is not to keep this horse from bolting and running off. That's not at all. Kurt should have already done that in the sacking out work, which he has. So what we're doing instead is just coming back and double checking, actually going back to a familiar lesson and letting the horse just relax a little bit and really understand Kurt's not here to hurt him. Okay, Kurt, I want you to go ahead and just put weight in his stirrup with one foot. Leave one foot on the ground. Okay, now I want you to just move your shoulders and hips over this way a little. There you go. I don't like to see a person get on a young horse back towards their hip. If that horse jumps away from you, you're going to be in trouble. Good, good. That's enough. That's enough. Fantastic. All right, come on over here to the other side. Do the same thing. You know, you get a 2-year-old, they're kind of loose and rolly in their back. It's hard to keep your saddle in place. You want to make sure your cinch is tight enough that it's not going to be a wreck. You know, I like my cinches really snug on a young horse, but at the same time, you can expect some of that roll. That's going to happen on a young horse. There you go. And when I work a young horse, you'll always see me use a double fold Navajo pad, a wool pad. It's thin, it gets my saddle down close to my horse's back. I get as much contact as I can. It's not what I want to ride with all day, every day, but I don't want any more wobble and roll in my horse's back because of too much thick, bulky material when they already don't have a set of withers. They haven't grown those withers yet a lot of times, so they're just pretty round. So I don't want to stack that round up any more than I have to. Okay, can you check that cinch, make sure it's plenty tight? Okay. So what happened right there, I start to notice, holy mackerel, this thing's gonna roll just a little too much. Come over here and pull it straight. So that's one of those things, that's why I'm here, and that's why my dad was there with me so many times, is just to be an extra set of eyes and just kind of catch on what's going on. And I think, you know, honestly, it's a biblical mandate. The Bible tells us for the older men to educate the younger men. And I think it's just part of cowboy heritage as well. We want to pass on to the next generation what it is that's worked for us and what we've done and why it's worked. Good job, Kurt. It's looking really good. There you go. All right, this time I want you to stand up. Don't swing a leg over, just stand straight up. Okay? Good.
Boy.
Good, let him see you. Now you notice I shortened my hold on that lead rope a little bit. When Kurt's feet leave the ground, now it's my job to make sure we stay under control. If you feel like you need to step down, go ahead. If you don't, don't. You follow your gut, okay? When you're in that spot, you follow your gut. If your gut says, hey, wait a minute, we're about to get in trouble, then get out of that situation, right? If your gut says, oh, he's just moving to get his feet square, that's fine. You'll notice I keep my snubbing horse, when his feet start leaving the ground, I keep my snubbing horse pretty square to him. If this colt starts to go someplace, I want his first jump to hit my horse. And that's why it's so important that you do that work earlier, making sure the colt doesn't think he can push his way through your horse. You want him to see that as a block so that you're being there, being safe. You've done every bit of groundwork, all the sacking out. This horse has had lots and lots of work done. But there's still that moment of truth when your feet leave the ground and you get up in the air and you're on this unbroke horse where you want to make darn sure everything is good. Your snubbing horse, by the way, needs to be really broke. This horse has had a lot of wild cattle on the end of the rope, a lot of mad cattle. You know, he's not snubbed a lot of colts up before, but I've got complete control of his body. I can move it anywhere I want to. There you go. Good. I'd like to see you back your foot out of that stirrup just a little bit more when you step up and down. There you go.
Boy.
Good. He's kind of burying his foot all the way in and not using his toe, but kind of the bridge of his foot. I want him just to stand on his toes. Good job. All right, move around there. Yeah, shake that saddle a little bit. Good. And I like to see that colt look at you out of that other eye, right? I want him to see from both sides. Good boy. I love that first springtime hair loss. That gets me so excited when I see a horse starting to lose hair in the spring. I know green grass is around the corner and summer's coming. There we go, buddy. Just step up there. Nice. There, you actually stepped up a lot better, kept your saddle square that time. Good job. Let him see your hand, kind of reach your hand out to the side. Always keep one hand firmly on the saddle horn. That gives you something to push off of. It gives you a place to go and get away from.
Good boy.
There you go. Good. The colt seems really good and quiet and calm. I'm going to go ahead and just take a dally here on my saddle horn for insurance purposes. That's it. That's why I do that. Are you ready? Do you think he's ready?
I think so.
I think so is not a real convincing answer.
Pretty sure he is.
I say that to him, but I'm real serious about that. If you're not sure, don't you go swinging a leg over that unbroke horse. He's not ready if you're not sure. Okay, but if you're sure, go ahead. You stand up, sit down, and step off, all in one fluid motion. Okay, stand up, sit down, and step off, just like that. Good job. The concept is don't stay too long. Don't get up there and stay so long that this horse ends up getting nervous and making a mistake. Get up, sit down, get off. Good job. Kurt's got his rope strapped to his saddle. That offers him a night latch. He can get a hold of that if he needs to. And you see how he kicked him in the butt getting on? Okay, that was kind of a mistake on his part, but it's a good mistake to make. I normally do it getting off, not getting on. You kick a colt in the butt getting on, he goes to jump and you're kind of in a bad spot. If you do it getting off, you're already halfway to the ground. But the real point is you need to move your foot back and forth over that colt's hindquarters. Over the years, I have no idea how many thousands of colts I've started or helped start. But I do know that what I've learned is that the more nonsense you do, the more circus-like you make it, the quieter they become. The more you sneak through it, the more you are real careful, real quiet, real cautious, the easier it is for this colt to get scared. You're real confident in the groundwork. Everything you're doing, you're real confident. Then all of a sudden you step up on his back, right? So you've seen Kurt, like right there, he lost his balance. Great, don't feel bad about that. That's just, it's gonna happen someday. It might as well happen today. Good job, Kurt. All right, I'm gonna move his feet a little bit. That's another thing. This colt stood still and he's taking that pretty well. So let's just move his feet, let him relax. I'm gonna kind of come around here, set him up and do the same thing again. All right. Just kind of move his feet here. Good, now what I don't like is that right there. If Kurt gets on this colt and he jumps, it's going to give him a whiplash effect. So I'll set my horse up again just a little differently. There. Now that I like. That works. All right, Kurt, go ahead and step up on him. This time I want you to stay just a little longer. I want you to sit down and move your hands around, reach back, pet him on the butt, kind of sit up there and enjoy what you're doing with him. Good, that little bit of movement. Reach up there and pet on him.
Good boy.
All right, he's looking at Kurt out of that eye. He is not sure what in the world this means. All right, Kurt, I'm going to ask you a question. What are you going to do if he bucks?
Hang on.
There you go. That's all you can do. That's the right answer. Hang on, that's all you can do. It's my job to control it. Kurt's job to just hang on, do his best. He'll grab a hold of that lariat like a night latch and just do his best to stay on. If he gets bucked off, he gets bucked off. Now here's the real thing. We work real hard to make sure our colts don't buck on the first ride or the second ride or ever, right? So I only go over that as a precautionary, not because I think it's really gonna happen. Good job. On and off. All right, walk away and get back on him again. We're going to move his feet just a little bit.
Good boy.
I like to walk away, give the colt a break, give him a total rest, then come back and step on again. It's a brand new day. Good, move around. See Kurt adjusting his rope and just getting everything set.
Good boy.
All right, we're going to move his feet. And when I first move their feet, what I like to do is just kind of step into their shoulder and just move him a little bit. Just kind of set him to where he can't really get wound up. Just right there. Good, pet on him. You see how I set my horse up so this horse can't just take a run and take off, but just get a little solid movement. You know, again, you're helping a young person, or even if it's not a young person, somebody that's working on a colt that really needs help. You want to make sure you've got as good a control as you possibly can. We're going to move again a little bit. Try to never do something I don't tell them about. Just gonna bring that front end around right there. Good, move your hands out where he can see it. Stick your hands out to the side. There you go, don't get off balance. But you can get your body out there where you can see it. Switch hands on the saddle horn and stick the other hand out there. There you go. Reach back, rub on his butt. There, this colt's licking and chewing, his eyes relaxing. All of a sudden he's saying, hey, this isn't the end of the world. All right, we're gonna move his feet. Okay? Just move your legs around a little bit, Kurt. There you go. Just kind of go for a little trail ride. There you go. Moving along nice and quiet. Good, good. Go ahead and step off the right-hand side. Good, I like to rock that saddle before I step off.
Good boy.
And honestly, that's enough. You don't need to do a whole lot more than that. You can do more if you want, but you don't need to. The bottom line is get a few good saddlings like that, let the horse know it's all gonna be safe and quiet and comfortable, and he's gonna get to where he enjoys it. Kurt's having a good time, nobody got hurt. That's what makes it good to me. I think that's as much as you can ask for. Your horse tried hard, my son tried hard. What more can you ask for? I think that's pretty good. Well, Kurt, what do you think?
I don't know. He did pretty good.
He did do really good. You've done a really nice job, and of course, Howdy did a really good job getting him ready, and you've done a good job on his groundwork. You think he's gonna make a good one?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Good. Well, you've got all spring to ride him and find out, don't you?
Yeah.
Good job. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may God bless the trails you ride.
Find out more about Ken McNabb horsemanship at kenmcnabb.com.
That one true horse, the perfect partner built to ride. One true horse, a bond that cannot be denied. You would search forever just to have the chance to take a ride on one.